Today we are going to discuss one of the games that's going on with the Magnus Carlsen Invitational 2020 finals. The second day will be tomorrow to decide. Right now we have Nepomniachtchi versus Giri, Anish Giri, for the win. They had some interesting day today. We had some winning chances in several points. But there were like two horses, running neck to neck. So it was a draw, a draw, a draw, and a draw. So I could say a tie, a tie, a tie, a tie. What color tie would you like? Their flags are kind of have almost the same colors, but in different like rows. Anyway, so this is what it was. Today, I'm going to give you one of the ties, the yellow tie, blue tie, green tie, whatever tie you want. Anyway, draw. I might make this video in Spanish too. Hopefully I'll get the Latin America viewers in here too. And it will be nice to practice and speak Spanish, which I do. So vámonos. En otro video vamos a hablar de este juego de ajedrez. See, I can do it. Anyway, so we'll see. If I have a lot of viewers, whoever views me the most, that's the language I'll be doing it in. All right, kibitujemy. So this will have a Sicilian Najdorf, a poison pawn. I also will make a video about Najdorf. What a life story! I mean, this has to be made into a movie. I hope Hollywood is listening. It's truly a magnificent life story. It's almost like Job. You lose everything in your life, and you have to remake it. And boy, did he do it! He's like a hero to me, really. And the fact that he was born in Poland is just a really nice touch there. And you might find him as Argentinian, but as far as I'm concerned, he was stopped by certain circumstances and had to and stayed in Argentina. But he was born in Poland from the Polish Jewish areas, which is like Łódź. That was a very bustling, vibrant town before World War II hit. Now remember, Poland was off the map for 123 years, and somehow the language survived, the culture survived, which is a miracle in itself. It had a very brief period where it was a free country before communism hit after World War II. And so a lot of struggles there for everybody. And here we have somebody's life that was was topsy-turvy. And look how he's well known for his game. What a tough person to survive and then thrive after all he had to go through. So you'll be seeing a Sicilian Najdorf, a poisoned pawn around move 11. Okay, here we go. Okay, e4. This is not e5, basically. When you do not see an e4, e5, it tends to be more of a closed game. So here we go. Like we are positioning, this is quite a lot of theory. You have to start to remember more theory. Instead of like 10 moves, it's going up to 15 moves, it's 20 moves. I mean, how many moves can you remember? To the point where the other side says, no, not today, we're gonna deviate. And that's why they call it a novelty. When you make a move that's not part of theory, that kind of starts to stump you, that's where both sides are off the engine study and into their own game. That's probably where the game really begins, where you don't have the crutch of an engine to tell you what to do. This is where your brain has to tell you what to do, and I think that's the beauty of chess, and hopefully that will stay for as long as possible. I hope somebody tells and does an algorithm of how many moves do you have to make before the other party deviates from the actual theory, because there's only so many moves. But you'll recognize openings. You already know what Queen's Gambit is. There's so many. There's the next amount of openings that you can do, and then there you have whenever you deviate from that theory, it's usually a novelty. But there's only so many novelties. So how many moves are you going to have to remember? 30, 35? So this is going to be more of a memory game type of game. it's just really sad that we are using more and more the crutch of the engines who are able to calculate faster, because let's face it, they don't have to feed themselves, just electronics. We are human beings, and I hope we can continue to play chess in the way they did in the old days. So that's why looking at the old masters of 100 years ago or more is so nice, because they did not have uh, the luxury of having engines telling you what to do, what's the most optimal. Anyway, let's continue. The knights, look at the white knight's position. So this is Nepomniachtchi versus Giri. Nepo is white, Anish Giri is black. You always want to stabilize and neutralize, stabilize the position, balance it out. So at this point error, no room for error, except if you're Magnus Carlsen, then you can still probably get away with it, which probably why he has been a world champion for so many years. But these guys are trying to gain up on him. He did quite well today, I must say, against Wesley So. He won one, and then there are 2 draws, and then he won another one. So he's 3 points to 1 point versus Wesley So. So he did quite well. I will review some of his games. So when he's on his game and actually wants to win, he just brings it, right? Maybe I kind of scared him by saying he probably should retire and get himself a wife and have little mimis, little mini Magnuses. That's probably too scary for a lot of men nowadays. So maybe that woke him up and says, no, I'd prefer to play chess or something, Anyway, lots of young people are this way today, They do not want to commit or marry or whatever. I mean, where's the population going to come from? Somebody has to pay for our social security or whatever your country is doing. But anyway, I'm talking a lot, so I will continue now and focus on this. And we see the rook lift. You see these long range pieces. All right, take. He's enticing him to take, but then that would, get rid of the rook there. All right, positioning again. Positioning, vying, take. Lots of taking. Okay, so as long as you're taking and you're balanced, we're still good. So minimizing is good because you have less to think about, less combinations. But the queens are still on the board. Let's see how long. Okay, we are in check right here. So we block. Okay, this was a very interesting point. Look at this move order. This is where you got to stop and think. This is where you have to be more attuned to what should I do? Should I do this or this? This is very interesting. This type of position. Who's gonna take what, where, when, how? So this is where calculating in your head. I'm so impressed by those people that can play simultaneous and blindfolded chess. Like these masters can do it. There was one named Kotonowski, another Polish player from Jewish background, another dramatic history, but he made his home later on in San Francisco and wrote thousands of articles. So another beautiful story of just grit and just making life as best as you can after so many difficult circumstances that a lot of people had to go through during that era. All right, let's see. So we are going this way. Okay, and we take. Lots of taking in this part, and it's like only moves 20 something. Here 20 seconds, and we are taking. We are now in the end game. Usually when the queens are off the board, we are now in the end game. So then, as I always try to see what material, what positioning, what's going on. Look, the white king is very open, and here with the black king, I mean, this would make me a little nervous. Look, the rook is just 1 away from a check, correct? And so where is this going? He can escape here, but then he would be more in the open. So it's just, this is his escape square right here. Do you see that? But right here, there's no place to go. No place to go. So if he had a white light squared bishop, this would have been interesting, right? Just here and then go here, right? But he's missing a light square. Bishop Nepo. So how are you going to do a checkmate? You can do a check, but how are you going to do a mate? Because you always want to have a way to escape with your king if you're in the back rank. All right, we are moving up our H pawn. You know, these pawns become crucial at the end. It's a run, another race to see who is going to be able to promote, if you're going to be able to promote. And it's a lot of maneuvering, a lot of endgame study. Okay, notice this. He did not take, because if he took, this would be like a highway to heaven, right? A highway to promotion right here. So he went up. So don't be greedy. Always think, what will that do? Let's see what he's going to do. Another threat. So he is, instead of taking, he's supporting this pawn by his king. See how interesting this structure is? The king is active in the end game. He cannot take because then he will take. Well, like he did take. So now he took. He cannot take because we got the rook watching over this pawn. And he's moved down, trying to see what he can do, right? To figure out. But as long as this king stays on light squares, can the bishop do anything to him? No. So this is the beauty of having two bishops. This could, if you have two bishops in the endgame, you could do some really interesting things. The king is not as safe. But here, as long as you stay on the white squares, this bishop obviously can't do anything. All right, here we go. Now he's bringing his bishop here. Another check, move out. Look how quickly this disintegrated. And the pawns are either eaten up or moving up. See, now it's about eating pawns. Pac-Man, remember Pac-Man? Those that, you know, from the era. This is Pac-Man time. Okay, so we are repositioning for this open file. Eating up pawns. Now we are going against this bishop. Notice again how we are attacking this bishop. Can the king take now? No. It says we are cornering this bishop. What is Nepomniachtchi, what is he going to do? He moves it out of the way. It's almost like he's allowing, okay, you want to take my bishop? I'll give you yours, but I'll be taking your bishop too. So basically it's kind of consolidation to the point of, let's just have a draw, I guess. I don't know. Or it'll be going to infinity. Anyway, there is a 50 move rule, but that's another video. All right, here we go. Now we are taking. Okay, we have now a. This could be dangerous if you can make it in the same way. One of them can make it, but here we have this guardian. All right, and here we have things going on as far as this. If he goes here, takes and then promotes, right? So how we're going to protect against that? So he moved his king out of the way. And now we're going to eat up more pawns. Anish is like, okay, which one I'm going to want for today? You want the lefty or the righty? Which one will be my snack? He's still snacking. The rook likes to snack in the endgame on pawns. It's hungry. Okay, so now we are moving closer to one of these. So the king is now acting as though he were a rook. He says, oh yeah, well, I'm hungry too. I want some pawns. Okay, let's continue. He takes, and he takes another pawn. So it's pawn eating contest. Like, not like pizza, right? It's pawn eating pawn contest. Because they could be promoted to a queen, you know, to be like a, what is that, Cinderella story? Yes. All in tatters, but all you need is that end of the line and you become a queen. All right, so here are going now, protecting this, so he can't take. So now it's like, oh no, you don't. You want to go up there? Not today. So the king also moves over and takes, and it's just a matter of time to take. And voila! We have been very hungry. We have cleaned up the board. There's nothing more to do. Let's go home. Let's refresh and let's revisit what we can do so that tomorrow we will have games that maybe not will not be draws. So maybe they'll have 3 more draws, and finally, and the last game they're actually played a game that will not end in a draw. So it's kind of like you become so good that you can have a draw on demand almost. A draw on demand. So I think there's somebody should do a study on draws. I think that would be very, very fruitful. But so there we have it, the first day of the final of the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. We have in an even position here 4 draws between Nepomniachtchi and Giri, or Ian and Anish. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. Au revoir.